Okay, this topic may be a little different from the typical podcast, where I question whether exercise physiologists are most suited to analyze running. So now, typically in the running community, exercise physiologists play a major role. Most of the experts in running are exercise physiologists, and they do a great job. But are they best suited to really analyze a runner? See, now we have to make a distinction here. When we take a look at the curriculum involved for an exercise physiologist, they may have a class in biomechanics, but they don't become qualified in the biomechanics area. In other words, they do not look at technique of skill execution. The biomechanist does this. The exercise physiologist typically looks at the effects of exercise. So after you run, or as you're running, what's happening to you? What's happening to your heart rate? How about your pulse? Oxygen consumption, VO2 max. Are you in a lactate area? See, anaerobic zone, the anaerobic training, aerobic training. See, these all fall into the domain of physiology. See, and that's where exercise physiologists excel. They are great in these areas. But when it comes to looking at running and understanding the physics or the forces involved in running and how these forces are produced and whether the forces are effective and how to develop the forces, how to reduce the forces, all these things are beyond the exercise physiologist. Their main concern is heart rate and things like this. What is happening to you? Not what is the best for you. Oh, they'll tell you it's better to have a bigger VO2 max, but that doesn't mean anything. How do you train for it? Well, they're probably pretty good at doing that. But when it comes to the actual running and describing the running and how you should modify your technique if needed to improve your running so that you can get more benefit from it, then they fail. So you should not rely on them for all aspects of your running. Get someone who is more expertise in the biomechanics of movement if you were thinking in terms of technique. And in my estimation, technique comes before all the other types of treatment that you may get. See, I use technique to determine the entire training program. Looking at your technique tells me what changes you have to make your running more effective. It'll tell me where you're weak, muscular-wise. It'll tell me what exercises you need in order to improve the strength of these muscles, to improve your technique. See, and as you improve your technique, your running becomes more effective, and now all the other physiological aspects become even more notable. You want to improve your ability to run further, to develop a greater aerobic effect, you have to have good technique. And if you have poor technique, you're never going to be able to attain the speeds for the time and distance needed to attain particular results. So even when we talk about being in or working up to your lactate threshold or anaerobic threshold, well, you have to have the ability to run long enough and fast enough to reach this level and to maintain this level. See, then we can begin to train, the mixed regime of, both aerobic and anaerobic development. Or if you want to get into the anaerobic side. See, so the two are really combined. You need both. You can't just work with one and leave the other out. So I read too many articles by the exercise physiologists today that are ignoring technique. They're telling you how to run merely from observation of what occurs to you in the running. They're not looking at the strength training and how it can improve your running, which is at the background or the foundation of all good running. Technique should be the most important thing that you do. Then you can get all the other benefits from it. But without technique, an effective technique, you're never going to be able to achieve your potential or maximum potential. This becomes the key. So, How are you going to improve your technique? If you don't have a coach capable of doing this, and typically there are very few coaches who can do this. Remember that coaches are not trained or educated in the hows and whys of running. They know how to develop a program. This is what you do Tuesday, this is what you do Wednesday, this is what you do Thursday. Why you do it's another ball game. But when it comes to analyzing your run and technique, you do not see it. And if you belong to a running club, I'll venture to say that I doubt if there's anybody in that club that is really doing any analysis, or the coach is doing any analysis. The coach is merely working out your program. And typically the coach is relying on the exercise physiologists. They're the ones that are behind most of this. So, make a long story short, you need both. Get somebody to work on technique. If that's not possible, take a look at the second edition of Explosive Running. Has great sections in there on technique analysis and how you should run and why all of these different joint actions that you execute in running are so important. As you develop a better understanding of running technique or running form and make the necessary changes together with some strengthening of the muscles that are involved, you're going to see your run improve tremendously. So check out the book, second edition of Explosive Running. It'll make a world of difference in your running. Make it more enjoyable.